I try not to worry about big things, you know, like how much money I have or whatever. And I'm finding out the people I owe money to, they are worried. And I owe some money now that I owe a house. I used to not, you know, here's how I make myself feel better about my debt, is I look at our countries, right? It's like watching a VH1 reality show where I'm like, well, those fuckers aren't getting their shit together, why should I? You know? I used to not worry about national debt either. I'm like, what the fuck? Millions of dollars, trillions. We owe that to ourselves? Well, fuck it, you know what I mean? If I owe myself $100, I'm like, you know what? We good. And Brett was mentioning this thing with Comedy Central and the Muslims. Once again, they try to put out a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad and everybody loses their mind. We're going to kill people over it. You really? It's a damn cartoon, you jackass. I don't understand. You got to have a sense of humor about your religion. Come on, Muslims, Jesus Christ. You know, I mean, how do you not have a sense of humor about your religion? Come on. The capital of Pakistan is Islamabad. One of the most fundamentalist Islamic places on the planet, and it's named Islamabad. That's just hilarious, all right? There's no Christianity sucks Kansas, you know? Kill people over a cartoon, and every religion does it. Every religion kills for their God, right? Muslims, Jews, Christians shoot abortion doctors, always let away with the same bullshit. I did it because God told me. You know what? If God told me to kill a bunch of people, I'd be like, oh, do you have some ID? Yeah, that doesn't sound anything like you, G. You know? We got to be worried about it. We kill for our God, too. Our God is money. Our country's, right? It's what we worship. It's what we work 40, 50, 60 hours a week for. It's what we want more than anything. It's what we think will make us happy. We have altars built all over the country in the form of banks that we bail out. I don't even know how it works. Half the time, I don't even get a check. They wire it to my account. I press some buttons. It spits it out to me. I don't know how that works. That's faith. Yeah. And how many of y'all haven't stood in front of the altar of an ATM machine and prayed? Like, dear Lord, please let there be $50 in my account. And money's not even real. It's so weird. It's such an illusion, you know? It's one of those Matrix things where it's just whatever we've decided. It's not backed by anything. It's just this made-up thing. Why are we using this? Why not leaves? Shit, that literally grows on trees. It'd be great. Get a backpack blower and a rake. I could buy a country in Africa and a new flat screen. Right? Because our money's not backed by anything. It's not just made up. And we don't owe that money to ourselves, the national debt. We owe it to the Federal Reserve, right? If you listen to Ron Paul, more and more people are learning that's a private corporation for profit. It's not really about our country. They own the money. Even Sam Walmart's like, holy shit, what a great business model. You know what I mean? You own money? Yeah, we just make it up out of nothing and then we sell it to you. Yeah, can I do that? Nope. If you do it, it's counterfeiting and we throw you in jail. You know? It's interesting when you read about the Fed, right? Because it's such a deception. The name, it's not federal. There are no reserves. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where when they voted it in, all the bankers pretended like they hated it, just like reforms now, and then it works out for them. The people that are on the money were against its institution, right? Franklin was against it. Jefferson was against it. Lincoln was against it. Jefferson, Jackson, Lincoln, Franklin, all those guys. They were against it, and they're on the money. It's a fucking insult. It's like putting a Mother Teresa face on condoms and passing them out of Planned Parenthood, you know? Right? Here's your swastika yarmulke, young man. Put that on. It's just made up, right? And it's named different things. The dollar is it's the dollar here. It's the lira in Italy, the peso. In Vietnam, they call it the dong. That's the weirdest one of them all. Now, when you fly from Vietnam to England, that must be fun to go to the currency exchange. You'd be like, I'd like to exchange my dong for pounds. Wouldn't we all, sir? Wouldn't we all? And if you are with Bank of America, I will no longer take a check from you. Right? I got a buddy of mine, owed me $100. I took a check from him. I went to this bank to cash it. They were like, all right, we'll cash this for you, but it costs you $6 to cash it since you don't have an account here. I'm like, wait a minute, he has an account here. He gave me a check that stood for $100. You're making him commit fraud right now. Well, whatever, Mrs. We don't have an account. This is what we gotta do. We need your fingerprint on that check also. My fingerprint? It's a piece of paper. I just handed it to you. If shit goes down, it's on there already. Okay? Yeah. You need my fingerprint? You're the one committing the crime as far as I'm concerned right here. If my check was for $5, would I owe you a fucking dollar in order to cash it? Scumbag. They're evil, man. The one time in Jesus' ministry in the entire Bible that he used violence was fucking to the bankers or the money exchangers flipping over their tables. You know how evil you gotta be to piss off Jesus? Banks are evil. And Brett, right, we've been talking this week. He's a friend of mine, right? He's an atheist. He's like, Tom, you don't even mention Jesus. He's an imaginary character, a fictional character that you're making up. He's not even real. I know he was real because he was a carpenter. You don't give imaginary people jobs. I don't know any imaginary people that have jobs, right? My buddy Larry, who I'm making up right now, because guess what? I don't have a buddy named Larry. He doesn't have a job. You know why? Because he's not fucking real. You'd have to give me some extra time, right? He's a project manager at Hewlett-Packard. That's what my buddy Larry is. He was a carpenter. That's how I know he was real, because they would have made up a better, fucking more glamorous job than carpenter. You know what I mean? He'd have been like beat reporter for the Nazareth Daily Bugle or some shit. Solving crime and saving souls. So he was a carpenter for a long time. Things must not have worked out in carpentry, right? They bring him in. Well, Jesus, we know you work hard, but you're not very good at this. You know what I mean? Maybe you should look into that whole savior thing you've been talking about. And he had to make some things. He was a carpenter for a long time, so there has to be like a table or a chair or a scroll shelf or a desk of drawers or some shit, you know? Yeah. That's how we're going to find out he was real. Be watching like Antique Roadshow one day. The appraiser's going to be like, wow, this stool looks very old. Let's see who made this. Jesus Christ! That's going to be worth some money right there. That's how I think it's going to happen. And Jesus did an interesting thing. He turned water into wine, and they said he was God. My Uncle Stan did that in the shed, and they gave him 7 to 10. Yeah, there's no what would Stan do bracelets laying around. Come on. Yeah. And gold is the thing now, right? The money's going to be worthless, supposedly, and the gold is worth a lot now, making money. I used to think 90s rappers were idiots for what they did to their teeth. Turns out they were good investors. Let me see your portfolio. That incisor's 24 karat, bitches.